to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing expert Robert O'Haver, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
All right, welcome back to Search Talk Live for another great episode. We are in store for. We're going to talk about some content marketing strategies. I am your host, Robert O'Haver, along with Michelle. Michelle?
Greetings, everyone.
Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am the VP of Marketing and Sales at the Gruen Agency. And the Gruen Agency is a full-stack digital marketing agency. We do everything that inbound could possibly touch. So that would include content marketing, which we're going to be talking about today, as well as SEO, PPC, paid and organic social, email, you name it, we do it. That's Gruen.
I could hear the excitement in your voice. You're like, content marketing, yes.
Yes.
But those of you tuning in to Search Talk Live for the first time, we are a digital marketing podcast. We do talk about everything. We cover content marketing. We cover SEO a lot. We cover social media. We try to give a flavor for everyone that listens to the show so that, you know, we can help you be better online at what you do. So, yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest. Our guest is all the way from Australia. I swear we're on like a world tour right now. We had France, England, Switzerland. Now we're in Australia. But our guest today is an expert at content marketing. Our guest is Aaron Ages of Louder Online. How's it going, Aaron?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
What's it like over in Australia right now?
It's a little crisp in the morning. It's only 7 a.m., so it's quite early, quite crisp, and it's starting to get a bit cold.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for joining us. I know that's pretty early for you to get up, but we're glad to have you.
Fine. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. So, Michelle, did you have something you wanted to add before we get started?
No, I'm good to get going on this topic.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the content strategies, 5 steps to building a good content strategy. I mean, there's so many people out there that all they know is, okay, I'm going to write content and then I'm going to put it on my website. But there's a lot more to it. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, look, there's a lot to cover, and you know, we've said 5 steps, but really there could be 100 different steps that are involved. When we're doing content strategies ourselves for our clients, we're covering a wide range of different things. I guess one of the first things that we're covering is definitely the style guide. Mm-hmm. So making sure we're including things like your tone, your style, your voice, the language used. The descriptive words that you're happy to be using as a company and how the company and people need to portray themselves in content. Mm-hmm. So really covering that sort of thing, things like the content length and structure, that really are defined by how the company wants to be seen. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that as sort of step one. Mm-hmm. In terms of moving on from there, we're doing... making sure we're aligning with business objectives, seeing what goals the business is actually trying to achieve with that content.
Right.
Is it just for awareness? Is it for actual traffic leads and sales? What are the core KPIs for that piece of content? Mm-hmm. And so really mapping that through to business objectives. Once we're done there, we're covering a lot of stuff around your user journeys and your buyer personas. So I guess, or even reader personas. So in terms of building out those personas, we're really trying to nail down the exact people or exact person that you're trying to talk to with the content that's being created.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to add that. I was going to say you got to know your customer or your client or whoever you're going after and speak their language.
Yeah, and I create this persona as though you're speaking to one person, and write the content as though you're speaking to that one person and make it personal according to everything that person wants to hear and feel and so on. So yeah, we've really built out some quite detailed buyer personas there, and also user journeys, understanding how they're going to be hitting that content and what you're trying to get them to do next. And as we're doing that, we're kind of building out the different calls to action that are going to be applicable to the buyer personas and the user journeys at the different stage that they're at as they're hitting your website. And I think that's critical as well, because the calls to action are going to be different for each person and for each stage. And so we need to make sure we're mapping those and aligning quite well, so we're getting them to take the action that you desire.
Absolutely. Now, do you, let me ask you this for the listeners. Now, do you think it takes a special person to do that? Because, I mean, you can have somebody that's a really good writer and they know how to write a story based on, what their research, but to be able to turn that into a call to action, is that a special person, or is that just something that just needs to be taught to those people?
As far as how we do it, we definitely need a whole lot of client input at that stage. We need the client input in terms of the buyer journeys and the user personas. And the other way around, the user journeys and the buyer personas. And as that's happening, we need to identify what sort of calls to action do exist on the site, where we're trying to push them. And so it really does, it's not something that we can just do for a client. There's a lot of collaboration that has to happen through that part.
Sure, I gotcha.
I think one of the most common questions we get when we bring up content marketing to our clients is, does that mean I have to start blogging? Well, no, actually, it might be, it might not be. I think a lot of people are confused with the idea of what exactly content marketing is. Is that just a blog? Are there other things that constitute content? I would have to say yes. Absolutely. Just about everything you produce is technically content, whether that's an infographic, a video, an article on a blog. Honestly, even your product descriptions are technically content on your website. Do you want to address that a little bit, Aaron?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It covers a wide range of different things. I guess when I'm referring to content marketing or building a content strategy, by default for our clients, I typically am saying let's start with a company blog, not meaning that they necessarily have to write for the blog. It's just that it is likely the best place to be having that content, because the content's going to be attracting links and social engagement and traffic, and you really want that all happening to an owned asset of yours, which is the website, and all the links and traffic and everything else that's going to help with SEO. So I guess as a default, I'm sort of starting with a blog, but once, as far as we operate, it's like get the content on the blog and then use every other channel as distribution for that content. So it doesn't matter if it's text posts or videos or infographics or any of the ones you mentioned. Start it on the website and then distribute it to the other channels.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of cross-linking that should happen as that content grows on a website as well, so that when you write, say you're running an e-commerce site and the blog is talking about a set of things that you can do with a particular product. Well, the product and that blog post should be cross-linking to one another.
Yeah, and look, that actually touches on a point that I think so many people and companies forget and just don't do, is that as you're creating that new content, someone should be going back once a week, once a fortnight, or once a month, whatever it is, and going and doing a whole lot of internal linking back to new content that was created. And I think making sure that you're spending that time and doing that is definitely distributing authority in the right way and directing those search bots in the right places. I think it's a critical thing that actually has a really big impact the larger the size of the business. Yeah, they've got that existing authority, and so it's just a matter of distributing in the right way.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, that's why I always preach to use the related posts and those type of things, because those are linking off to your other articles and keeping that link juice going.
Yeah, it's great, and but also going through and doing that in content editorially placed internal links. That stuff really works as well.
Well, you're also talking about opportunities that increase time on site, increase the number of pages viewed per visit, lower the bounce rate. Mm-hmm. All of that is actually the job of content to do.
Yeah, all good signs to Google that you're providing the right content too. So just going to help with your rankings across the board.
Yeah, I obviously you do some analysis to see, what to blog or talk about in your content. How important does it play a role other than, having a really good catchy title and that type of stuff? How in depth do you go with SEO? I mean, you're not sitting there going, okay, I have this keyword in here 10 times. Are you going that deep, or are you really focusing on writing the quality content?
For our clients, we're creating a lot of long-form quality content. We know everyone's talking about the 10x guides, advanced guides, complete guides, and all those things. We do a lot of those for clients, and I'd say 100% of the time they've been really successful in attracting the links, social shares, traffic, and so on, and have always delivered great rankings.
Nice.
Which was the goal, one of the goals in the first place. So always been happy with that. But even when we're doing regular content for our clients' blogs, we're still talking sort of 1,500, 2,000 word plus content that is jam-packed full of internal links, external links, data, factual information, images that support the content, a great amount of detailed content there. And it's in terms of creating that content, it's not just a catchy title and then, hey, throw as many words on a page as possible.
Right.
We're actually, in terms of our idea generation, we're doing a lot of stuff that, one of the most basic content strategies is answer questions and solve problems. And in doing so, there's a hungry audience behind the content you're creating. Mm-hmm. So we use that as a foundation. We're pulling in questions being asked online and problems people are having into different documents. Once we've got that, we're crossing over against Google Trends. We're doing keyword research, competitive analysis, and we combine all this data to be able to pull out the topics that we believe that we should be hitting. And that database evidence that we should be writing that content means that once it's created, the actual marketing and distribution of that content is a lot more friction-free and successful. Very
well said. Man, that's great. Because, especially nowadays when you have people asking questions with their Google, you could possibly get those instant answers on there. I mean, you've got people more than ever using their mobile phone and verbally asking questions. I think you hit it right on the money. For sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's making me happy to basically hear you say that keyword research combined with persona research is what is driving the most successful content out there on the web. It's when we marry SEO and persona development that we're actually getting the content that matters to human beings that want to do business with us.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Humans first, search engines second, but you can always connect the two together in the right way. Everything needs to be led by people, and that's where we focus.
Yeah, and you mentioned the long tail or the long form articles. Those are really great, and I've seen a huge trend in those ranking better than your 350, 400 word articles, time and time.
Yeah. Look, when we pick up new clients, one of the first month activities that we do is a huge content audit on their existing content, and I'm talking about medium to enterprise size clients, massive sites with thousands and thousands of pages, and what we do is we pull in data from analytics, from link data, social data, and we do some web scraping and combine all of this data and come out with some really good insights. And in these insights, we're pulling out things that say, when you guys publish on these days, the content performs better by links and social shares and time on site, or content by this author performs better, or content on these topics performs better, or we say content of this particular length and above performs better. And I can say that 100% of the time that we've seen content above 1,500 words outperforms in terms of links and social shares. And when you're using that in as the currency and a measure of success, then it's quite easy to say, look, we have to be creating detailed content that is in depth and is above this sort of length. So we hit that all the time with our clients. Yeah,
and I think the way Google looks at it is, it's not something that's just being regurgitated from somewhere else. If it's long form like that, it's more of an in-depth article, and I think they, obviously they pay more attention to it because it's time and time again I hear the same thing. The longer,
and look, I was just going to say on that we even throw things like heat maps on this sort of content, and often we'll see that people don't make it all the way to the end of the article, or they'll read half or whatever, but they're still psychologically inclined to link to it and share to it because it makes them look good that they're sharing and linking to an in-depth quality piece. So people, even though they may not read the whole thing, they're inclined to provide us with the key indicators that are needed to improve rankings, traffic, and so on.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to say it's quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just throwing out 10 articles a week, you're working and focusing on maybe 1 or 2 good articles a week versus that.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, what we tend to do with clients is regular sort of 1,500, 2,000 word plus pieces weekly, or whatever. Some of the clients we're doing it daily for. But then always working on one of these complete guides or advanced guides that could be 30, 40,000 words long.
Wow.
And those things are they're massive in terms of getting the results that we're after. Just perfect link bait, and we can reach out to every contact that we've got in that industry, and even new contacts, and everyone's saying, that blows every other piece of content out of the water. Let's do it.
You know what? This is a great moment. I have actually a tactical question about long form content, because we're also seeing so much of a shift from desktop to mobile in the way people are consuming. So I want to get nitty gritty for just a moment. What types of formatting, what do you do to make a piece of content that's that long and that in depth, easy to read and digest on a mobile device?
We're doing similar things that we do to for the desktop version. For normal posts. And what I mean by that is, short paragraphs, 1 or 2 sentences per paragraph, a lot of spacing, and it's easy navigation around that content. When in terms of how we break it down, we usually, if it's 30, 40,000 words long, we're usually doing a page per chapter, and then linking each page through to the next page. And then we're also doing a blog post as soon as that goes live, we'll do a blog post that summarizes what the piece of content is, and that goes live on the blog. So we're sort of breaking it up in lots of different ways. So there's a lot of good navigation and easy scrollability, I guess you'd call it.
Nice. That's a good strategy.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So that's kind of what I've been seeing and feeling a lot, is that as we start being a lot more mobile friendly, a lot more mobile first in our thinking about the way we create content, I am seeing a lot more reason for keeping the paragraphs short, using bullet points, giving anything that kind of helps guide both the eye and the thumb to keep scrolling through that content.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there with guiding the eye as well, because it's common out there, but when you're scanning a piece of content, your eye goes to the first sentence and the last sentence of a paragraph, hoping that you'll get the summaries of each sort of paragraph. So break it up, do a whole lot more paragraphs and make them a lot shorter, and you're going to get a lot more time on site and a lot more content read.
Great tip.
Yeah, and I mean, breaking it up like that, you're also keeping the bounce rate down.
Yeah, and more pages read, and there's a whole lot of good stuff for having it structured in the right way.
Time on site, all that good stuff. Oh, that's awesome. Michelle, you got something else?
No, not at the moment. Robert, it's your turn.
All right. Well, let's break this down. What would be, for the people out there that are kind of just getting into it, or they don't understand what to write about, what would be a good strategy? Let's just pick an industry. Let's say.
Can we stick with e-com?
Yeah, we could do that. Let's say it's an e-commerce site.
I get a lot of pushback from e-commerce that, no, this is all about our product on our site. Why do I want to write? Now I've got to make Shopify enable me to work a blog too. What? So yeah, we get a lot of pushback from e-com about that sort of stuff.
As do we. And the usual approach that we're taking is that often e-commerce stores are engaging us strictly from an SEO perspective, where they're saying, I need my products or my categories at least to be ranking better. And so our approach in saying we need blog and blog content and so on and so forth comes from an SEO perspective, where we're saying we can't get the quality links that we need to product and service pages, for non-e-commerce. And it's just not possible. The likes of editors and journalists at Forbes and Huffington Post and these tier one publications are going to strip out these links and never link back to products, unless it's something just mind-blowing and outstanding and it has to be linked to. But that rarely happens, and so we come at it from that perspective and say, look, we need to create editorial type content that we can build links to increase your domain authority. It doesn't sound enjoyable to be having to create regular content, but we will take care of it for you. So we take care of that whole blogging aspect for the client as well. And that way it's hands off for them, and it's, as you mentioned, it's really only the sort of technical structure that they have to put in place. And typically the sizes of businesses that we're working with will find a way to attach a blog to a site, or do a separate installation and combine that with the root domain.
Yeah, and that goes back to what you said earlier. Answer a question, solve a problem, those type of things for those products. That solve that need.
Yeah, but when we are doing, in terms of the strategy and the ideation for these e-commerce stores, we're not even necessarily talking about their products and services. In fact, we're trying to avoid that the vast majority of the time. Usually, we're using. We've got to make the content. As I said, the content has to achieve two goals, which is to be a linkable asset and for people to share it socially. And so we care more about it, making sure that it's related to the industry and that has crossover interest, and that we're able to successfully get the links to it that we need to from whatever publications. And so if that happens, then that's great. We get traffic to the site, we get the links, and that's going to help the domain authority. Therefore, it's going to help their category and product pages ranking.
Very good.
Right on. Yeah, education is a big key to getting content right. I know I worked with an e-commerce brand that did hair care products, and their hair care product was unusual enough that we really needed to educate the general public as to why this product was different and why you might want to consider making a switch, because let's face it, shampoo's a really difficult thing to get people to switch to and keep using. They might try it, but then they might wander off to, the local big box store and buy a cheapo brand the next time around. So education did a lot of the heavy lifting for our content, and we were able to rank around terms that mattered to our audience in regard to health and hair care, because we were creating that content. So You're right. For e-commerce in particular, you kind of have to look at the big picture and figure out how this product or this service fits into the lifestyle of the consumer group that you're trying to sell to.
Yeah, and you also mentioned rightly that it ties back into that user journey and where they are. So you were talking about the product and trying to educate. Maybe that's further down the funnel a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it's ensuring that there's different types of content for the different stages of the funnel, and then again, different calls to action. And the other part that you said was that you crossed it over with healthcare and healthcare topics. And the brilliant part about that is that then all of a sudden you've got a whole range of different healthcare sites that you can reach out to that you can get links from because it's relevant to their audience. And so, thinking about how you can tie it into your piece of content into crossover industries and big industries that give you marketing and distribution opportunities after it's live is important.
Well said. And speaking of, let's talk about that a little bit. A majority of getting links to your content is letting people know about it. Obviously, you use social media and all that stuff, but there's times where you want to do outreach to other sites that are similar to yours or carry the same messaging to your, that could relate to what you're writing about, to maybe reference people to your site. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's called influencer outreach.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we do loads of stuff. When it comes to the actual distribution and the marketing of the content, that's where most of our time's spent. There's so much detail that goes into creating this good content. We talked about calls to action and user journeys and all these different things, and that's great. But it's still only a good 20% of the whole process. And the rest of it is getting that eyeballs on the content, because it doesn't matter how brilliant your piece is if no one knows about it. It's pointless. I wrote, talking about complete guides and 10x guides, it was a couple of years back now, but I wrote the complete guide to building your blog audience with Neil Patel, and it's sitting on quicksprout.com, and that's another 30 to 40,000 word guide. Wow. All about how we distribute content and make sure that you're getting those eyeballs on the content. So part of that is, as you rightly mentioned, influencer outreach. There's link acquisition. There's making sure that it'll rank in SEO, social distribution, paid social. Just so many different things that go into getting results for that content.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even in organic social, it's really easy, particularly for one of these really, really long guides, to break those up into smaller, socially digestible elements and continue to post about them for long periods of time. There's definitely, for instance, that crossover between written content and visual content. You could turn nuggets or quotes into something that you'd post on Instagram and continue to share that piece of content for a long time organically without having to pay for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of organic stuff you can do. And you spoke before about the structure of these guides and how we break it down. That matters as well, because all of a sudden you've got, if there's 10 different chapters, there's 10 different pages, 10 different unique URLs that are covering a unique topic within that major topic. And so you're able to get links to those pages, to distribute that specific content, to share that socially. And as you rightly mentioned, whenever we create a piece of content, even not these long-form pieces, we'll get to the end of the piece and then pull out sort of 10, 15 different snippets or pieces of data or comments or facts or whatever it is from that piece of content and load it up into the social streams and make sure that they're being tweeted and shared. And it means that we can regularly share that same piece over time with different facts. So it's not just looking like we're spamming the same piece of content.
Sure. Let me ask you this from a user standpoint. When you're breaking them into different pages, those long form articles, what are you like, let's say page 2, are you putting some kind of, this is a continuance of, in case, someone organically lands in the middle of your article, I guess?
Yeah, they land at the top of that page, which is the start of a chapter, and there's always the previous and next chapter buttons available through that content. You know, we're not talking about just normal text posts that you'd see in a blog. When we're doing these guides, a key factor in the success of them is spending time and money and effort in the design and development of them as well. That sets it apart from other pieces of content that are out there. I think one of the key things here with creating these guides or doing anything is really, if you want to be better than other people, do what they can't do or won't do. And a lot of people can't or won't spend the time, energy, and effort doing design and development on these pieces. I think I've spent all the effort creating loads and loads of content, and then I'll just publish it as a normal blog post or normal page on the site. The design and development makes a huge difference in terms of attracting the links and shares and traffic.
Nice. All right. Michelle, your turn.
We're playing ping pong.
Sounds good.
So I'm circling back around here. So let's get back to persona just a little bit, because again, this is all about answering a question and providing something that helps the buyer along their journey. And what kinds of content, how do you distribute that stuff that catches people really high in the journey when maybe they're not even sure what their problem is? They're just kind of trying to figure it out, or maybe they're not even aware that, oh, this particular thing in my life is going to eventually make me want to call you, talk to you, do business with you. Where do you start in that process when what you're after is somebody really high up in the beginning of that journey?
Yeah, look, if there's no questions being asked by those people, then we're tending to lean over to the other side of keyword research, trending topics, tying the content in with newsworthy, relevant sort of, doing newsjacking and whatever else, so that we're pulling in people that are just getting that initial touch point with the brand. And then once they've got that initial touch point, the goal is get them on that email opt-in list and start pushing them down the funnel with that content, get them multiple touch points, making sure they're receiving more and more content. They're seeing us socially from there. We're retargeting with ads and staying top of mind, and that sort of moves them more down the funnel.
All right. Well, Aaron, we got to take a break here for our sponsor. Hold on one second.
Find the true value of your home when you log on. HomeValue.com.
Search Talk Live is sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies. Check out robertpalmercompanies.com for more information.
And those of you just tuning in, we are talking with Aaron Ages. All right, so we're talking content marketing, and we are going over different strategies and ways to create that 10x content, so to speak, or attract that client you've always wanted to have on your site. All right, go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
I feel like I'm the kid under the microscope today.
Well, you're the content marketing person. I'm not.
Fair. So I'm really having to live up to my reputation today.
Yes.
So me, I love social, and I really love talking about that. So once a piece is created, you've spent your time considering what persona you're gone after. You've written your content. You've developed all of the visual aspect of the content, all that kind of stuff. We don't want to just depend on organic social. Can you speak to a little bit about how you then develop paid social placement to really get that audience fine-tuned to that piece of content?
I love all the stuff you clearly love. That's awesome. Paid social, specifically Facebook, is getting so much of my attention right now. I think it is mind-blowing, the stuff that you can do with Facebook ads. And personally, I'm scratching the surface of what you can do. We've got some great people around us that are really implementing a lot of amazing stuff for clients. I wish that I was the number one Facebook ads guru because, man, I would be sitting pretty on an island somewhere right now. In terms of what we do, the audience targeting with that content is fantastic. We're doing a lot of retargeting. We're doing custom audiences based on existing people who've interacted with our content, and specifically around video. They're watching 3 seconds or 10 seconds of video and then retargeting them with further ads to push them down the funnel and show them content that we've aligned with stage down that further down with the user journeys. And there's the user targeting and audience targeting. I can't do it enough justice. It is amazing what you can do to target exactly the right people. And specifically, you touched on e-commerce before. Even outside of sort of editorial content, I've seen some absolutely huge success in driving Facebook traffic direct to products and product pages through custom audiences of people that have bought before, who have spent over $100, $200, whatever your premium range of products is, and just targeting that and then continuing to cycle that back through. The more people that buy, the more people that get targeted, and more people that have a lookalike audience built on them. It's mind-blowing.
Great. It's kind of unfortunate that we're doing a podcast rather than a video cast, because as soon as you said video retargeting, I'm like jumping out of my chair trying to not scream, yes, into the microphone. Because the ability, and what's really cool about Facebook and the thing I think I love the most is that we can actually mash up all of those parameters. So I can actually take a custom website audience that is basically a retargeted audience, all of that audience that's visited my website to do whatever it is that they were going to do on my website. I can then take that, mash it up against other psychographic and interest targeting. So I can say, yes, I want everybody that's visited my website in the last 90 days, but I want to filter that by their interest in a particular topic.
Yeah, segmenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or I can say, going back and looking at the behavioral retargeting. So one of the things that Facebook just rolled out for us, in case those of you in listener land aren't aware, we are able to actually create custom audiences based on their engagement with posts. And what's really amazing is the video engagement. We can create custom audiences based on how long they watched a piece of video content that we posted on Facebook. And we can actually mash up several videos all together. We can say we want the audience that watched 10 seconds of this video, this video, this video, this video. And we want to send them to either a product or a blog post or something that was related to the topic of that video that they watched. So there is some really incredible power in Facebook targeting when it comes to mashing one parameter against another one and really getting the right audience at the right time for the right piece of content.
You are just oozing with passion when you start talking.
Yeah, I feel it.
But
I completely understand. If you're thinking about, you're talking about mashing things up, all of the range of different opportunities that now exist through Facebook ads, it forms a gigantic matrix, and that matrix in itself is, to try and describe all the different options available is ridiculous. So you've just got so much power now. And one of the other things that you can do is, Facebook Live video. So just film it on your iPhone or whatever else. But Facebook Live is going to notify every single person on your fan page that you've got a Facebook Live video going on. So your natural organic reach is 100%, which is unheard of through any other publishing of content on Facebook organically. So if you do that, you're getting 100% reach, and then you retarget based on the views of that video as well, and it's mind-blowing.
And you could even do lookalike audiences and stuff.
But oh, yeah.
Crazy.
The other thing, too, is like if you're promoting a post, I've gotten 3 cents a click to promote a post. I'm like, that's amazing,
Yeah, and 3 cents a click to the right people at the right time.
Exactly.
That's the exciting bit.
Yep. It's amazing. Any other?
Right. we get a lot of pushback. I know brand new clients coming on board for straight up AdWords PPC, they look at all of the toggles and switches and things in AdWords, and it just kind of makes their brain all melt and go, oh my gosh, I can't even. And they're like, help us with AdWords. And I sit back and giggle because at this point, Facebook's targeting parameters are every bit as custom and as deep as anything AdWords has to offer, and we're still able to drive traffic for a lot less money than what Google charges us to do the same thing in AdWords with.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And the other difference is that people playing in AdWords, AdWords is for when people know what they're searching for. Mm-hmm. And Facebook is based on their behaviors and interests, so you're getting them before they even know that they want what you've got, and you're able to find those people and the exact right type of person. So, the best success comes from mashing the two together and seeing how things go.
Oh, yay. I'm glad you said that, because the next step is this. If you really want my evil genius tip, here it is. Drive them to something high in the funnel in Facebook, cookie them, and remarket to them through AdWords because they visited your site already into something deeper into the funnel when they start typing intent type language into search. Yeah, that's great. One of the things that we do is using Google Tag Manager, we make sure that we're able to put all the right code on the site so that we're able to then hit them up after they've visited the site on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Google, on wherever else, and we sort of carpet bomb them, making sure that we're on every network and they can't avoid us. I love it.
Follow them around everywhere.
Carpet bombing.
Yeah.
That may be one of my new favorite terms as far as market. We're going to carpet bomb them with your marketing.
Yeah, one thing.
We'll see. Go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say one thing we've done is when we're leading them down the funnel is at the end in Facebook, we'll do the native ad forms, the lead forms. Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's amazing.
Yeah, it works really well. And if you think about some creative uses then for all of this ability to target people with ads, there's so many things that you can do. You know, there's great evidence and blog posts of people that have said, I've found a job by stalking people at a certain company. Well, there's also good ways of being able to stalk people at a certain company when you're trying to get them as a client, for instance, and tear apart their site and make sure that you're advertising to the CMO and other people or everyone in the company and saying, hey, get your CMO to call me, your site's broken. Mm-hmm. You know, just smart things where the creative uses for all this technology and thinking outside the square is what's going to get the results.
Absolutely. And one thing you mentioned earlier we didn't touch on much is getting people in your newsletter. I think that is, you're building a free list right there. And as you're pumping out articles, that list builds and builds and builds, and you're building an audience. So you're bringing those people back to you and eventually maybe to a conversion, obviously, hopefully.
Yeah, and there's multiple reasons why you'd want to do that. That's great. You get them on an email list. You can do email marketing to them. That's fantastic. It's an owned asset and one of the most valuable things you have as your business. But then there's the fact that all of this ad targeting can all work based on the email addresses, and that's the key identifier for people. So you can throw it into all this ad targeting and do the lookalike audiences and everything else.
Yeah, and you could cross-market other similar products on that same list. It's limitless.
It is limitless. And honestly, that is the biggest selling point to getting a client to do content marketing in the first point, because I hear fairly often, oh my gosh, that's such an investment. How are we going to be able to, create a new piece of content once a week, every week, forever from now on? And, just that investment of time and effort into the content creation kind of makes clients nervous. But as soon as we start talking about, oh, well, once it's created, look at all this stuff we can do with it, they're like, oh, that's actually a pretty fabulous return on my investment of time to create that.
Yeah, look, one of the things that I say in a lot of the talks that I do is that content fuels every marketing channel, and everything comes back to great content. And so you got to have that strategy defined. You have to have the quality content being created, and then any channel you want, you're able to use that content on. So content's key. And you rightly said that a lot of the times the client's first response is, I can't create a piece of content every week, or, I've got to focus on the business, or, we don't have anyone that can write internally. And that really, when we started getting that years ago, we grew out our content arm of the business so that we could say, oh, I'm glad you said that. I'll take care of it for you. And it's completely hands off.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's undervalued. But, I mean, once you have basically the conversation we've had for the last 30 minutes, then they start to open their eyes and go, oh, wow, didn't realize all that.
Yeah, most people don't. It's back to that education side of things. And so that's why, when we're trying to win clients, it's never throw a proposal together and just sort of throw it over the fence and hope they understand it. We don't ever allow our clients to do that. We give them the proposal a couple of minutes before the call and make sure that we get to talk through them, or the in-person meeting, whatever it is, make sure that we get to talk through it and explain how it all connects into all the rest of this. Often the scary bit is if you're talking to people who need approval from different departments and hoping that they'll be able to translate the lessons that you've taught them internally to other teams to get that approval. That's the tricky part.
Definitely.
Well, and all of the digital disciplines lead back to content as well. So for us at our agency, we offer, a full stack of digital marketing disciplines. And very frequently, each client comes in thinking that, oh, what I need is SEO, or, oh, what I need is PPC, or, oh, will you help me with social media? And regardless of which of those disciplines that we start to sit down to talk to them, if we're going to talk about SEO, guess what? We're going to talk about your content on your page. How is your content optimized? Do you have enough content? Do you have enough fresh content? Are you sending signals to the search engines that your site is updated and relevant in real time? I mean, have you not touched your site and added any new content in several months? Well, that could be why your rankings are dropping off. When it comes to PPC, same thing. Well, what landing pages are we going to point your ads toward? That's content.
Yeah, look, everyone comes in with a different problem, but usually it's the same want, which is traffic, leads, and sales. Yeah. And so it's being able to understand the angle they're coming in on, how they got there, and what they're trying to achieve, and then saying, okay, well, I can stick it together in this way, which is, it's often the same proposal and the same service and the same offering. They say, I need SEO. Well, okay, I need content strategy, content distribution, or they say, I need content marketing. You're like, okay, well, it's not going to work unless your site's technically sound as well. It all ties back in.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So it's not really a one-size-fits-all, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the customization, again, comes in when we start talking about search trends, about personas, all that, and, what industry you're in. Yeah, it's highly, highly custom because you're creating content for specific people. But at the same time, you're right. The solution tends to be, more often than not, some piece of content.
Yeah, exactly.
We got about 10 minutes left, so what I'd like to do at this point is maybe we can talk about some actionable items, things that you really need to make part of your practice when creating content. We could do that.
Yeah, some best practice when creating the content. So I think building out that strategy has got to be key. As long as you've got that initial document somewhere, or living, breathing document that is around your tone, style, voice, length, structure, user journeys, buyer personas, competitive analysis. As long as you've got all of that in place, I think that's step one. It means that you know that even if there's multiple people inside the company or external contractors or an agency or whoever else creating content for you, everyone does it as though they're from the same place and speaking with the same voice. So I think that's number one. Number two is just cut out the guesswork in terms of your idea generation. I can confidently say 90% of the time that we come across a blog where they're looking for our help, we'll see that they're writing, either they're guessing that people are interested in the topics they're writing on because they know about their topic and they know about their content, so they think their users are going to be interested in it. That's probably the largest thing. And the second thing we see is they claim they're doing content marketing and they're using a blog as a dumping ground for places that have been mentioned in the press or updates about their products, and nothing that is of any interest to people who don't know anything about their product. So really putting out idea generation that is something that you know people are going to be interested in, you know they're going to want to link to and share socially.
Sure. So, I mean, do you make it a practice to go on these different sites to see what is really getting the shares socially? Yeah, part of that idea generation work, where we're looking at questions being asked, trends, keyword research. We do a piece of competitive analysis there when we're getting close on a topic, and that competitive analysis will, using tools like BuzzSumo and other similar tools, we'll be able to see relevant topics that are being shared socially and where they're being shared and what influencers shared them and all those sorts of things. And once we've got that, that helps guide us as to whether we're going to do the piece or not. Right.
In talking about some of those social shares, I came across a plugin the other day for Chrome that I thought I'd mention that I think is fantastic. CrowdTangle. Maybe everyone knows about it. I'm not sure, but I only saw it yesterday. And when you find a piece of content, you click on the little button in your Chrome toolbar, and it shows you which influencers have shared that content and where it's been shared. And it's really quite easy to then reverse engineer that and say, okay, well, if I'm going to create a similar or better piece, that's the person I'm reaching out to.
Nice. What is it called? What is it called again?
CrowdTangle. Yeah. So while he was talking, I looked it up. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this gets the Michelle seal of approval. I'm testing this one.
Yeah, give that one a go. I was pretty mind blown. I know you can do a lot of the stuff through BuzzSumo, but this was instant, single click, and it sort of shows the biggest influencers at the top and does a lot of the lifting for you.
Nice. All right, and what's that? That's number 9. No, we're on number 8.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm just making numbers up a second. Number 47, that was. So that's around the idea generation. And then I believe that probably the key part there is your content distribution. Once that content is live, you make sure that you do a lot of work distributing it through social, paid social, further influencer outreach, spending time on link acquisition, and also moving that distribution into sort of evergreen distribution. So you do a whole lot of heavy lifting in first couple of weeks, but then move some of that social distribution over into an automated funnel where you're publishing once a week a link to that post on your Twitter feed or elsewhere, just so that people can keep seeing it over time.
Gotcha. And that brings up a good point. What is the frequency you post for your clients? What's too little, too much, or just right?
Frequency of content creation?
Yeah.
For us, it depends on the size of the client and the industry. We work with massive enterprise sites and clients like Salesforce and IBM and those sorts of businesses. So a lot of them require a lot of frequent content just because their competitors online are doing that. I would say as we start to get down to sort of more medium-sized companies and we're doing it with the purpose of being able to have linkable assets, I'd say look at minimum, create a post per week. At least it gives you the more content you've got, the the greater the number of angles you have to pitch to journalists and editors and other bloggers to be able to get those links. So it makes it easier the more content that exists.
Gotcha.
Well, and I'd like to add here that even though you're wanting to publish a new piece of content once a week, that doesn't mean that the same person is having to create a new piece of content week after week, every week. Depending on how you've developed your connection with either your agency or internally with your own staff. I know for us internally, I've got a dozen people that I can farm out content assignments to and let them work for a month at a time on a piece and still be able to publish something once a week, every week, like clockwork.
Yeah, and what gives you the ability to do that? And I'm going to guess it's back to that content strategy where you've outlined the tone, style, voice, length, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've got that key piece, doesn't matter if it's internal people, external people, freelancers, anyone, everyone can write adhering to that same guidelines, and it doesn't seem like a disjointed piece of content written by someone strange.
Gotcha.
Right. All hail the mighty editorial calendar.
Now,
Indeed.
we're not going to make it to one because we only got like 5 minutes left. But, yeah. So, I guess what I wanted to say was, what's your suggestion? Should you guest post? Should you post on your own blog or article space? What would be your advice on that?
My advice is you're going to get much better results blogging on other people's sites with a greater audience than yours. Mm-hmm. But the caveat here is that you can't do that unless you can prove that you can write first. And you need that content on your site so that you've got stuff to link back to. So you've got to be creating some content on your own website, and then as soon as you can, start reaching out to other relevant websites to do guest posting. And as you're seeing success with that initial level of site that you've reached out to, then start trading up the chain, going to bigger and better and more authoritative sites. And ideally, soon enough, you'll be writing for Forbes and Business.com and all these big editorial publications.
Like you, right?
I do a lot of that, yeah.
Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. It's been great. The amount of information you've given, speaking of creating content, has been fantastic. Wouldn't you agree, Michelle?
Absolutely, I would. Thank you so much, Aaron, for sharing today.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been a good conversation. Hopefully there's some value there for people.
Absolutely. Well, in our closing, is there anything else you want to add? If someone wants to reach you on Twitter or something?
Yeah, look, I'm happy to help anyone out. Please reach out. I'm on Twitter at I am Aaron Aegis, or find me on LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. Otherwise, come to the website. We're at louder.online/Search Talk Live.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it. Hope maybe we can have you on again sometime.
I'd love that. Just let me know. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got a lot. You've got a lot to share. We've not enough time.
Okay, I really think that's impressive for 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks again for listening to Search Talk Live. Again, visit searchtalklive.com. Sign up for the newsletter. I'm not going to spam you or anything like that. It just gives you a notification of what's coming up for show-wise for the next month or so. Go to Spreaker. Follow us there. That is SPREAKER.com. That's where we broadcast from. And it disseminates to iTunes. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio in the U.S., we're on the Play Store. We're on, I'm trying to get on Spotify right now. I don't know if we're going to make it, but I'm going to try. But we're in a million different podcast platforms. So just search for Search Talk Live. Search for Search Talk Live. And you'll find us. Let's see. Anything you want to add, Michelle, before we sign off?
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure and make use of the Search Talk Live hashtag to continue the conversation with us.
And ask your questions. All right. Thanks for your support. We'll see you next week.